Hey guys, I have finally made it to a destination where I can kind of ground myself and find out exactly what I want to um, put out in the world. And I just feel like a lot of us know exactly what we truly desire, what we what we crave out of this life. And it really just takes a small, a s- m- the smallest amount of courage to just go for it, you know? And I know a lot of people are afraid of losing, sacrificing, and escaping comforts for, let's say, a comfort like being in nature and allowing earth to provide for you. It's a learning curve for sure. We've strayed so far from true nature that we kind of feel like there's a separation when it's all in your mind. There is no separation. You make you make the choice at the end of the day to separate yourself from your true nature. We've lost touch with who we truly are and what it is to be a human being. When I talk about escaping the system, I I grew up in Texas, and I was born into a dysfunctional family, as most of us are, you know. We kind of feel like we had something to do with that, and we try to fix it. There's a lot of shame that comes with that. We feel like it's part of our identity. And I'm living proof. I'm living truth that is an illusion. My father was the bread maker. He was a firefighter, he was a Marine, and worked a good portion of his life. And um He had 2 kids, me and my little sister. He wanted to own my mother and own us in some way, and I don't hold that against him anymore because I know how his upbringing made him who he was, and that was his own really fucked up way of loving somebody. And, forgive me if I'm laughing about it, like, I know the things that I've been through were, um, something a child and my family what he put my family through, they did not deserve that. I'm just self-reflecting. Um, he wanted to own me and my mother and my sister. He couldn't own my mother. My mother is a very strong woman. I'm so proud of her for escaping that. Unfortunately, I was a child, so was my sister, and I was put through the family court system. He had full custody, and it was my own personal hell. I grew up in a house where I how do I describe it? It was a brick house with a flat roof, and it didn't have shingles on it. It was like a rock roof, and it was literally like falling apart. Um, the exterior of the roof, super old. My father became disabled due to um, getting injured while working as a firefighter. So he retired early in his life. I mean, I would say like late 30s to early 40s. And he created his own personal hell. You know, all he really wanted was love, and his idea of love was owning somebody, and that was us, his own children. He expected us to love him. In this house that I grew up in, it was, if you ever watched Hoarders, just picture any hoarder house, like just click on any episode, and that's exactly the type of house that I lived in. Um, a lot of adults in my life would look to me as the eldest and expect me to pick up the slack, you know. Said, "Oh, you know, your father's disabled, you know, you don't help your father." They didn't really understand my situation and how he treated us. And um, I mean, how could you expect a child to um, take care of your own parent? it's it's a lot of work, and I grew up really young. I had to grow up, mature very young, and I'm still in the process of maturing as a being. It's a never-ending process. I'm not saying that I know everything, but I've come to a point where I realize that these systems that are put in place to, I don't know, uh, make us feel safe, protected, is merely just control. If you truly want freedom, liberation, you need to look within. not any outside sources, external sources. Growing up in the custody system, I remember I reached a point at 12 years old where I mustered up the courage to speak to the judge, and um, unfortunately, it was in her chambers. And I remember the night before, I wrote down everything as to why I didn't want to live with my father and why I wanted to live with my mom, and the way that she made me feel and the way that my father made me feel. And I remember crying, and I remember seeing her face. She was almost smiling, and when I was done with my letter, she handed me a tissue box on her desk, and she said, "If you do not follow my orders, you will go to jail." At 12 years old, um, that will fuck you up, you know? That will fuck you up. You know, you pour your heart out and you expect these people in power. These people have no power over you to have the best interest in mind, especially when you're a child. And I carried that along with me throughout my young adulthood, and no more. No more. I've seen through the veils of a lot. No person, no policing person, no matter what title a person has in this reality, has no power over you. You have power over yourself. It might take some time for you to ground that knowing, and you could just do exactly what I'm doing. I'm in the middle of nowhere. I've picked up and gone, and I've sacrificed a lot. I've shed my old life, and it's been the happiest I've ever been. You know, I I've made meditating and grounding a big part of life, as it reconnects me with true nature. And really, that's all you really need, you know? That's all you really need. You see, look, grounding. I love you. If no one has told you that, I love you.